Lead Mine Road, owner slash applicant, AJ Services LLC, representing Dave Sadowski, EV file number 300-1226, proposed project, new single-family house with septic, highway, and drive, and well.
Mr. Chair, before we get going, I'd just like to read this. In the interest of saving time, the Sturbridge Conservation Commission will hold all public hearings tonight for work within a wetland, water body, or resource area zone to a wetland, water body, or resource area in accordance with the Massachusetts Wetland Protection Act, MGL Chapter 131, Section 40, and associated regulations, and the Town of Sturbridge Wetland Bylaws and associated regulations. We will not be reading the newspaper ad. Prior to opening the first hearing for each project, the applicant is to submit proof of notification to abutters within 200 feet of the subject property line and proof of legal newspaper advertisement. If these items are not submitted, the public hearing will not open. Additionally, prior to the start of each public hearing, we will announce the location of the project, the applicant, and the applicant's representative. If any of the visitors have not legibly signed in yet, please do. Also, if any visitors are recording this meeting, please let us know. Thank you.
All right, gentlemen?
Good evening, Mr. Chairman. My name is David Sadowski. I'm the principal of DJ and Associates. Can everyone hear me all right?
Beautifully.
Along with me is Elias
Don't
Montero.
touch that microphone. We all have, don't touch the microphone.
Oh, here it is.
Yeah, okay.
Along with me is Elias Montero. He's one of the owners under AJ Services. And we have a project here at 346 Lead Mine Road. Mr. Montero's group also owns 344, and there's another lot over in here that is 348 Lead Mine. We're going to take and combine, what we'd like to do is, since the wetland goes across the front of both of these lots, there's really only room for one proposed house on that. We'd like to combine 348 and 346 to make one lot. The house straddles the lot line now. Also, when we first looked at this, we looked at trying to do a common driveway on that existing driveway in 344, but the town does not allow for common driveways. Also, the town requires the driveway enter through the frontage of the lot. So I don't know if if you can pick up mine.
Yep.
Down in this area here, you've got to be 5 feet, we've got an iron pipe right there. You've got to be 5 feet off the corner, and then you come in with your driveway. I talked with Highway, it's 12-foot driveway in this area here. It'd go to 10 up along the wetlands, then expand to 12 feet in the back. It would be a drive-under house. The house would be built into the side of the hill. This is a huge cliff on Lead Mine. We came over in here, over in this area, we had a 7-minute rate for this repair, and then here we had a 5-minute and an 8-minute rate for our septic system up in this area. The line would go underneath, go into a 1,500-gallon tank, and then go to a 1,000-gallon pump chamber, pump up in the top, and this would be a stepped septic with stone trench. It'd be 2-foot, 2-foot, 2-foot drops that would fit up in that area. We provided an area for snow storage over in this area here, and we were trying to put in replacement trees. Down in this area here, we have 3 replacement red maples. They'd be right up against that wetland line that was EBT. Glenn Grabowski did this line in June 29th. It's noted right here. And then up by the house, we're going to put in 4, or we'd like to anyways, 4 oak trees up in this area. And then as that permanent demarcation, we'd like to put boulders in between them so that the area to go down toward the wetland would be clearly demarcated for anyone. We provide a recharge service over in here for the roofs, and we'd have a standard house in this size right here. There are some trees right in this area that have to be removed, and there's a couple. You can see this one up here in the site here, and then there's 2 in the septic area. These are 6-inch caliper or bigger. So we're trying to do 7 replacement trees. We're trying to do boulders to help demarcate where the wetland would be, and we need to get some waivers because you do not allow, and it's a no touch for 25, and then no structure for 50 feet. So our house is inside the 50, some of it. We can't go any further back up into the hill. And where the roadway first comes in, that's in the 25 right there. And then there's one section over in here that's in the 25. So we've listed over in here the 50-foot no structure and the 25-foot no disturb, and what would be required if this plan was to move forward. Now, we did 4 alternate plans. One we did with having the common driveway where we wouldn't have to disturb anything, we'd be able to get back in here, but that wasn't allowed by the town. Then we did one coming right up the property line with an 8-foot driveway, and an 8 wasn't going to be satisfactory. If we went to 12, we would have been filling wetlands and taking this whole tree group out. So all of those didn't seem like a good situation, and then to go in, to go through the wetland in this section here where it's the closest, that would be ecologically irresponsible to try to do something like that. But it was shown as an option because all options have to be shown. The best option that we found, or the least obtrusive to the wetland itself, would be to come in where we have to come through the frontage. We'd still like to come in over here, but it's not allowed. And then come up through. That tree right there would have to be removed and the one behind it. And then it's wide open. The shed that's on the property, if anyone went on the site walk, that would have to be removed from this location here to another place. And then the driveway would come along and go to the house. I know I've said a lot. I don't know who went on the walk and who didn't. But we get out there, we went out on Sunday because we heard about the walk. I was away on vacation and went down to Bonaire and I went diving for a month. And I got back and I heard that you were gonna be doing a walk, so we worked on Sunday. And we staked the driveway, we staked the septic, and we staked the house area. That's when we noticed a couple of the extra trees, and we included those on this plan. So all the trees that were within the staked area are now shown. And I'm open for any questions.
All right. Agent?
I will note that this plan that you're seeing before you is a revised plan, so this is not what is posted on the website. We received an updated plan 2 days ago, and then Mr. Sadowski provided the colored plan, which is helpful. But this shows the trees marked, so when we were on site, we obviously did not have that with us. I have a lot of concerns for this particular site, especially for the long term. When you're looking at the wetland, it's kind of evident of where the watershed is coming from and coming down that ledge. So I am concerned that this project essentially bisects that watershed. I'm concerned about the gravel driveway that's going to be excavated, and in my opinion, I don't think that it's going to last very long. And I'm concerned about the radius of the driveway, especially with plows, delivery vehicles, construction vehicles. It is a tricky turn in that entrance, and then of course the narrow driveway to accommodate for that. So I'm concerned about the long-term wear of that driveway and having to come back in future years for it to either pave it, raise it, or replace it. There are some concerns about the replacement trees up by the house and long-term of those growing to be oversized, where then they'd have to be maintained or requested to be removed down the road. And we're still pending comments from the Board of Health, who is still looking at the septic design. We walked on site, and we're going through a snow melt right now. It is damp out there. I would recommend the members that were unable to go to the site walk arrange that so they can see the site in person. I know we were out there recently because we just approved the septic replacement on the neighboring site. So, we did see this site at that time, but we were not able to see it with the perspective of where this property is going to be, and I think that's where a lot of my concerns are. Obviously, we've seen the alternatives, and while the adjustment of the lot line might be the best alternative, I still have concern over the wetland itself. And of course, this does require multiple waivers for the disturbance within the 25 and the structures within the 50. I think the two that were on site might have some comments as well.
Yes, I have a question with water flow. If there was a study of how the construction is going to affect the water flowing from the hill, that cliff basically, into the wetland. Seems that is fragmenting that connection of that watershed. So how that water recharge is going to be affected. I don't know if that's part of the plan. And my other question is if there is right now the entrance of the driveway has that turn, why is it not possible to come straight parallel to the existing driveway on the other side? I didn't catch that.
Through the chair.
No, you don't have to go through the chair when,
Okay, I was just using parliamentary rules. This frontage right here is a minimum for this house. We are proposing, since he owns both, of doing a Form A plan where the line would come up, but it would stay off this. It would come over to here, up in the top, and then borrow land from here. So this land would go to this lot, and this land would be part of this lot. So no easement would be created, but if we came straight through, we wouldn't be entering through the frontage. We can't take any frontage away from this lot over here. I would prefer the driveway to be here, where there's already a driveway. I don't know if there's any type of a variance that we could get from the town to make this a common driveway, or have it be a common driveway, because then we'd be even further away from the wetland itself. But we came up with the idea of doing a Form A plan and dividing this piece off and making it part of these two lots. And if we were to come across here, we wouldn't be entering the driveway through our frontage, which is illegal in town.
right. Okay. Eric?
We have to be very careful about permitting anything or looking at any project where, if there is common ownership here, they've essentially created their own hardship.
Right, they
So-
have created their own hardship
That's
with this.
right.
Yeah,
So
period.
it seems to me we need to look at it through that lens strongly, because we've had some issues with other projects that we couldn't move forward with for that exact purpose and reason. So that would be my primary concern, that we have precedent set, and I don't know that we should be looking to come off of that. But aside from that, I would just be curious from Lauren's standpoint. It would seem to me that there's not enough additional mitigation being put into this plan to justify any waiver into the 50-foot anyway. Now, I have not been on site. I was supposed to be there. So I would like to go and see it. But from your perspective, is there enough to work with to provide the proper mitigation to justify the waiver to go into the 50-foot? Or is there just not enough to play with in here because of the challenging nature of the lot itself?
The lot in itself is a challenge. The house can't go back any further, otherwise you're in the ledge. Which if you recall from the other site, it was pretty steep. From the back of this one, it's even more steep.
There's no other, I guess I'm gonna go with the same thing, Eric. I only ask these questions before seeing the site. You were gonna make a retort, go ahead.
Yes, Eric, if you could clarify on how we created the hardship? These
Well,
lots.
I'm asking
These lots, if I could.
I need to look into that, because it just, at first blush, without,
I can clarify it.
yeah, okay.
When you subdivide and you have one ownership and you go ahead and take actions of that subdivision, you are creating a hardship. We don't have to, if you, regardless of how you subdivided, if it makes it so that you can't do what you want to do without meeting our regulations, then we can say you can't do it.
Right. If I could, these lots were created in the 70s. They've been sitting vacant since then. We didn't create these lots. These lots were there, and they were given addresses back in the 70s. They've been paying taxes on them since
But I
then.
can bet you a nickel that, well, 70s isn't far enough back, first of all. Second of all, I can bet you this wasn't built until more recently, right? That house?
He's giving
you-
Maybe 1984?
Right, okay. And now, but believe me, it will stand. It's a concern.
Right, the only subdivision we're doing here is to allow for the driveway to be on this lot's property, or increasing this lot size. This lot right now goes right up through here,
Right.
and it comes down through here. there's no way to get past these wetlands unless you had like an 8-foot wide driveway right along the edge of the wetland line that Glenn flagged. So that's really economically, not economically, that's the wrong word. That's not an environmental, that's not something we want to do to the environment, to have a driveway go up in there.
Right.
So we lucked out by owning this one over here also, that we were able to take and Form A off a piece of it and add it over here so we could give a driveway access. So we're really not creating a hardship, we're trying to help alleviate an an environmental impact on the wetland itself.
No, we're not saying that you're trying to create a hardship. The hardship exists. Period.
All right, we're trying to help alleviate it.
It's like you
and
can't.
We're stuck
you
on
can't
the,
drive through the middle of Big Alum to put a house lot in, because it's the only access.
right.
That's a hyperbole. I don't mean, I'm just saying that's what we're talking about here.
All right.
So when this was built, and when the lots were set up,
72.
if you'd come and you'd said, okay, now, we're gonna have this and have this, I can't even speak because I haven't seen it, but something else could have been done that would have allowed you to do what you're trying to do without, messing with the wetlands, et cetera. Yeah,
So we looked up, the house was built in 1972.
72.
Yeah, that's when that house at 344 was built. It was recently refurbished inside.
So when was the request for a shared driveway made?
I talked to just recently,
And what did they say?
the town planner told me that common driveways are not allowed in town.
Okay.
That's when we sat and we talked with the girl over at Highway and asked if, since you own this adjacent, could you put the driveway over here and change the lot line, then it would be further away from the wetland. So I had a conversation with the three of them to try to see what we could help to do to alleviate the situation.
Carson?
I had to, so, in order to address Lauren's concern, would it be possible to tar the driveway, for example?
Oh, yeah. That would just create more impervious.
I know, but I mean, you seem to think it might be better in this situation? I don't know.
But yeah, I through the chair or through Carson, I agree completely. I think it should be a paved driveway in the very beginning for sure.
And the other thing that we were thinking about, because of the ledge and the flow of the water, might there be one way in which you can slow down the water and have some swales or so to catch the water that comes down behind the house? Somehow place it so that maybe you protect the house and the foundation and the driveway in some sense.
I agree completely. What we really wanted to do was, this house was 8 feet further forward, so we'd be able to create a swale and create some area behind the house.
But you can't,
Right now, we have it 4 feet into the cliff,
you
and
can't,
it's only a 26-foot wide house.
but you can't create anything on the side, or?
Well, what we can do is we can carve into the hill as much as possible to create something to make the water go to either side of it and not come right down against the foundation. That'll be explored with the machine.
I think something probably needs to be
We're
done.
doing something like a retaining wall
Yeah,
to
we
drive
could-
the
we
water
could- well,
to each side, or?
What we're gonna do is we'd be looking at creating a swale like you talked about, because it would be a full foundation in the back with the garage with the drive out. There's a retaining wall in this area here that would help hold this hill back. And then there's a swale that would come off, and a swale would come off this way. And then right in here is the recharge for the entire roof itself. So all of that area that used to accept water would be able to recharge into the aquifer.
What about a crawl space? Could you move it back further if you put in a crawl space instead?
Well, right now,
Bring it down
right,
8 feet.
right now, there's almost a 5-foot change in elevation from this side of the house to this side. And we're trying to put a place to put a car underneath over in this area here and then back up and come back out.
Okay, well, see, every time you give us a parameter that you have, we have to consider it as far as whether it's reasonable for what we need to protect the wetland. So, I mean, you're saying, wow, no, you have to, have to have a green car, or I have to have a,
It won't be electric. I'll tell you that much.
Okay. I'd like to.
I don't vote with the deep state.
My EV Blazer out there would disagree, but, so, in all of the alternatives, there's no way to shift around this so the house is outside of the 50 at all. There's no way of accomplishing this.
No, there isn't.
All right, well, would you consider continuation so that a couple of us could get out there and see it?
Certainly.
All right.
Yeah, I apologize. I was supposed to be there. I had a sick kid,
Well,
so.
you know,
Would you like me to come along?
she'll set it up. Yeah.
I'll tack it on with the next ones. Do you want to open a public comment too?
Okay. Public comments? Anyone like to speak to this? Seeing none?
Maybe a special permit process, I think, to get around, to use the other driveway.
Can you grab a mic and
I
speak
can't
to
touch it.
My name's Joe Levesque. I think there may be a special permit process so that they could use the shared driveway to get around. I'd ask Gene about it again, but I think
Okay.
that is obviously nobody wants a driveway that close to the wetland, so it would make more sense to use the one next door. It doesn't.
Thank you, Joe. I was thinking that, people ask us for waivers all the time. I would
Yeah.
think other departments could be asked for waivers as well.
Yeah.
And Joe's suggestion is a great one because then we wouldn't have any disturbance in this whole strip area here. We'd be able to utilize an existing driveway, so we wouldn't have to worry about the driveway coming apart in a year or two, and that would further protect the wetland. I know you talked to, Flora, I know you talked about the overland flow, or you talked about the hydraulics. I think Glenn is here in the building. He could maybe speak, because he's the one that flagged up in this area here and over.
Yeah.
Hey,
Well-
Glenn?
No, we're not gonna go, I'm not gonna continue it on. We've got a meeting here, we've got to continue, he can address us at the next meeting after we've seen a site visit.
All right.
All right? Continuation?
With regards to the project at 346 Lead Mine, I'd like to make a motion to continue the public hearing until April 3rd.
Second.
All in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
And Germany in favor?
Carsten Stüber in favor?
We're in favor, too.
Have to be.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
All right.
Mark.
Now it's 6:10, open public meeting, notice of intent for 149 Arnold Road, lot 11.
Don't touch the mic.
Owner applicant is Michael Christine Sosik, represented by Mark Farrell. Mark, how you doing? Green Hill Engineering, DB file number 300-1227. Project is a single-family home.
I'd love to talk to you.
How you
Good
doing?
evening.
Yep.
Mark Farrell, Green Hill Engineering, representing the Sussex for a proposed lot on land they own on Arnold Road. We came before the commission about maybe 6 months ago for another lot that was right here. And the Sussex are proposing to carve another lot off of the land that they have. It meets all of the frontage requirements. The other house that's permitted is right in this area here, and then he's got a new barn he put up on his property down in here somewhere. So in this, what we're proposing to do is come in with a driveway, and it's got this curve in it because there's a steep slope along the road, and Sturbridge has a 12% maximum grade on the driveway, so we have to kind of loop around there, cut across the grade, and get back in. The rest of the lot is relatively flat. It's got a gentle slope. This is kind of the high point on the lot right here. He's proposing to put the house here, kind of on the knoll of the high point on the lot, and proposed well in the front here. In the rear of the lot, there's a wetland system. It's actually off the property line by maybe 25 to 30 feet. And that's a 25-foot setback. This is a 50-foot setback that's 100 feet, and this is the 200 feet. And this 200 feet here is to the wetland that we had on the prior lot that got permitted. The septic is going to be behind the house, a 1,500 gallon tank. It'll be a gravity system. It will be slightly raised, not substantially, so a big mound in there. It'll kind of grade in nicely with the backyard. There'll be a garage, drive-in garage, be a full foundation. Proposing to, this would be the limit of clearing and work. And that's about it. Any questions?
I think we walked the site. It's not as much of a slope as the site next to it. I think that the vegetation's more sparse than the other site too. One thing I was thinking after we left too is is there a possibility of switching where the system is and the reserve and flip-flopping those so the system can be further from the wetland and have the reserve in the back?
I can look at it, but I think this is slightly lower. And if we pull it back up, then we're gonna have to bring in more fill over the septic tank and kind of raise the house and have to bring more fill into the yard.
Okay. And then my other question, with the 12% slope driveway, which I don't anticipate the runoff going down too quickly because of the curves in the driveway, but perhaps there could be some opportunity in, this area specifically, so you don't have to clear more, of putting a little bit of a gravel on the side,
Sure.
just
Yeah.
to catch anything coming off, to slow it down that's
Yeah.
going onto the road, which is a scenic road as well. No scenic road permits required for this. There's no trees coming down in this area, no stone walls coming down over here. Other than that, I don't have any concerns for the site.
It's a scenic road, and so there's no trees that are gonna come down to put, all the trees are actually on this side of the property line. If they were on this side, but proposing to keep these trees, and we could, if we put a swale here, we could probably, or a stone on the side of the driveway here, that would slow it down. We might be able to tighten this grading, and this is a big old oak. It's not a town tree, it's on the property, but I'd like to try to keep it if we can.
I think adding the gravel too would help too for
Right.
any additional impact of sheet flow that could come off towards that tree.
Eric?
So is this pretty well vegetated at this point? We're just going in and clear cut and creating all grass there, Mark? Or
Did you,
On this-
you walked the other one, right?
I walked the other one.
So
When we
it's,
parked at the garage,
Yeah,
Have the
and walked
and we
pictures?
walked through
Right.
it.
you walked
Yeah.
across that.
okay. But it wasn't just an open,
No, it's not completely
not an
open,
open
but the trees
field,
are very
it's-
sparse.
No, I would say that there's not as much, the growth is not as close together as it was. There's some, what looks like maybe some old cart paths, even like back where
Right.
the septic is.
Yeah.
It's kind of cleared in that area, and a lot of what is there is
Probably
not in
no
the best of
pasture.
shape.
okay.
I think it's kind of an overgrown pasture from years ago,
Yeah,
and the
Yeah,
pipe,
that's what I-
when
that's
they
what I
built the
remember.
pipe,
You're
they
looking
might have
at.
taken a little soil out of there.
yeah. Well, I guess the question that I have is there a
That's the
proposed,
site next door.
is there a proposed planting plan to kind of protect that wetland towards the back of the property? Just
This
to,
is the drop.
So. can you
It's
put
pretty
that site-
vegetated back there.
Yeah.
And it's kind of hard to tell from this picture, but this is the top of the slope, and then it just drops down.
okay,
So there's a lot of natural barrier
Okay.
between
There's
the
a lot of
house.
hemlock
If anything,
back
it's all going forward away
Okay.
from the wetland.
so we're not concerned, okay. I mean, other than that, I think the plan looks good, and that, yes, and I do remember it being
Yeah.
between where the new house is and where that
So
awesome
there's
barn
no,
is.
no disturbance, this is all heavily, this is probably the most nicest stand of trees are back in here, hemlocks and some mountain laurel, and, so there's no disturbance within 25 feet, and just a limited amount of disturbance within the 50 feet.
And then that's just gonna be left to naturalize.
Yeah, we're
anyways.
gonna leave it, this is all gonna be left in its natural state, nothing,
Yep.
no disturbance in 25, and
Laura, anything?
No, like it was very straightforward when we went visit.
It's a
It's
pre-
like an old
pretty-
pasture.
pretty
I would like
very
you
young
to
trees.
explore the agent's suggestion and tell us what the math would be. You know, how much, you know, I'd like it to be more serious, because I think it's a good idea. If we can move that away, like you said, the value of the trees.
I think
The
just the
back is
factor
better.
to consider of, you know, if you can quantify how much
Yeah.
fill is going to have to come in, and if that's going to be a bigger impact than leaving it as it is, I think that might.
Yeah,
be
that, but
helpful.
I'd like to see him quantify it. Sometimes he's more exact when he's exact.
what do you, what?
I said, you're more exact when you're exact than you are when you're, you know, depends on what shoes you.
I did look at it, but I didn't quantify it, and, you know, everybody prefers to have a gravity system, and it's actually better
Absolutely.
to have it.
Yeah,
I
but you
mean,
didn't
it's
get one
slower
for my
turn-
daughter, so what am I supposed to do?
Okay.
I'm just kidding. I'm just,
So-
you know.
I would prefer to move forward and approve the project if we can, and provide the agent the ability to work with Mark to get that, to get that clarified. I don't know that that needs to come back in front of us.
Well, I haven't seen it, so I'd like to see the site with it marked out. Did you go there?
I did not, I mean, I've been on the site,
Yeah, I've been on the site, but
so I mean, I don't.
you haven't seen it marked out.
I have not seen it marked out. I don't really have any concerns about it as it stands. And when were they looking to break ground, Mark?
Like everybody, soon as possible.
Yeah.
Yeah,
The neighboring site's already been cleared.
yeah. I mean,
But if you need to go out and see it, I mean, it is what it is, so.
Yeah.
yeah,
I'd like to see it.
All right, well,
Just for,
So
you know.
what I did is there's still a bit of frost in the ground, so I put
Yeah.
some just wire stakes here. And then I flagged this principal back line of the house, not all these jogs. So there's a wire stake here on this corner, a wire stake on this corner, and the four corners of the leach field staked out.
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, with respect, unless you guys don't see a reason to close the public hearing, I understand you want to see it, Ed, but I think that it's, if,
I think it's a straightforward project, but if Ed wants to see it, we can just figure that out and close it next time. I don't think that's a big problem. So.
I get it, but, you know, I mean, continuing public hearings another 3 weeks and slowing down the ability for the applicant to get without additional concerns, I would, you know, I'll leave it up to you to decide. You are on site, but I don't see any reason to slow the project down. Not hearing any germane concerns other than the possibility of flipping those two things, which I think we can provision that Mark work with the agent to figure out what is the best course of action. I don't know that we're gonna change our vote, is my point.
Yeah, but you can walk away with leverage or not.
Or we
And
could,
did you-
or
why
it
did
could
we
be
not
good,
s-
positive constituent services.
Why did we not see both of these sites at the same time?
I don't think 3 weeks makes a difference, right?
Yeah.
All right, well,
So I'd like to take a look at it.
all right. I'm not making a motion. If some, I'll make a motion to close the public hearing, but I will not make a motion for a
Public
continuance.
comment.
Anybody in the audience like to speak to this? Okay.
I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing.
But did we just say no?
You can say no, we won't close the public hearing, and then somebody can make a motion for a continuance, that's fine.
I don't second it, so.
Okay.
Does anybody second the motion?
Don't look at me, I can't second
You
it.
don't have a second?
That's fine.
Okay. Motion for a continuation?
I move to continue the public hearing. What is the,
April 3rd.
so April 3rd.
Great.
I can second.
You second?
Eric Gaspar abstain.
Oh, St. Germain in favor.
Carsten Stüber in favor.
Who seconded it?
Yep.
Laura, did you second it? Okay.
Okay.
All right, thanks, Mark.
Thank you.
I know.
It was good.
All right, we are now at number 4, 610, open public hearing for request for termination of ability for 37 Finley Road. Applicant is Norman and Barbara Calver, represented by Mark Farrell, Green Hill Engineering.
For the record, I would just like to state we do have an updated plan with the updated wetland line that's going further out this way. It's just not on the website. But I do have, Mark dropped off hard copies after our site visit showing the updated wetland line.
This is a septic repair on Finley Road. There's the existing single-family house here. It was probably built maybe in the 70s or 80s, I'm guessing. And they went to do their inspections, and they didn't pass Title V. They have an older type system that was real common in Walker Pond. It's concrete chambers, small chambers. They call them aeration chambers here. And they have their well is up front here. So getting back here is difficult. It's an area that was previously filled. And so what we did is they have a very long and narrow lot that continues down Finley Road. So this is all kind of overgrown pasture. And we did the soil testing over there. This whole area is just known not to have great soil. So back in here would have been, we would have had to dig out the fill, cross over, there's a propane tank here and the gas line, and try to get it out of there and bring in new fill, and I'm not sure it would work. So anyway, we ended up soil testing over here, which is over 100 feet from the well. This is similar. That was a deep, there's a steep cliff on this side over here, and the swale here kind of drains towards the pond on Finley Road. So this is 50 feet off that wetland, so we're almost 100 feet from the edge of the wetland, and proposing to put a Presby in here. And Presby's, in this situation where the soil's poor and you have high water table, just makes it easier to fix the septic system in a cost-effective way. And so what we'll do is we'll come out here, we'll tap this line that comes out of the house, run it over the 1,500-gallon tank here, which will be relatively easy for the tank truck to get down there and place it, and then go through this with a line to the Presby over here. This vegetation is mostly multi-floor rose and vines, and it's just, you know, there's no real trees in there. It's just kind of crappy vegetation. And it'll be a gravity system, and this will be slightly raised here, and they'll have good access to put it in. They could just come right off of Finley Road and install the system. And below the work area, have proposed a row of straw wattles.
Okay. You have anything?
After going on site, it does appear that this is the best suited place for this replacement system. It's vegetated, but there's no trees coming down, and there's not a lot of vegetation in this particular area. There's a stone wall in this back area, and there are a lot of natural contours in the land that would protect for any erosion, in addition to the erosion control measures during the phase of construction. Far enough from the resource area that I wouldn't anticipate that, you know, any major problems, but there's really not any other suitable location. We did take a walk behind the house as well, and it is very narrow back in this way. And then it kind of just slopes down here, so it'd be more of a challenge to try and get it in this area where there is a deep slope. But I have no concerns for this project.
All right? Eric?
Nothing, I'm good.
Mark, is this a second repair to this system?
I don't think so.
No? Trying to.
Why, do you remember it?
What? Yeah, I do.
Huh.
I don't know if it was a repair that I remember.
What's
or the-
that?
I don't know if it's a repair that I remember or the actual putting in of the system.
Might have been putting the system in.
Yeah. Hate to tell you.
I don't think so. I believe these are aeration chambers, and it's an existing 1,000-gallon tank, so it would have been pre-94.
Yeah.
Actually, way before that, because Sturbridge required a 1,500-gallon tank back, as when I started.
Yeah.
So basically, it's been a long time, so I don't think it is.
Yeah, probably not. I mean, the Calvert kids are all,
What's that?
the Calvert kids are all gone. They're
Right.
in the same age group as mine, so,
Right.
yeah.
So I think it is the original.
With it.
But if you look at this footprint here, this is a Presby footprint, and it's reduced by, it's slightly smaller than a traditional system, and you try to project that right over here. And then there's also a drainage easement that comes down here on this property. Actually, I think the drainage easement's on this property right here.
Do we own land behind the town? When you looked at,
I looked at it, but I forgot who owned it. I think it might be, I don't think the town does.
yeah, I know it was
It
opposite
might be
us.
Fish and Game.
Okay, it went to Fish and Game, yeah. Okay, that makes sense.
I'm not sure, but it's non-buildable land.
Yeah. Yep. Okay. I have no problem with it.
You don't have any concern?
Carson?
It's a pretty straightforward.
All right. Eric, you want to make a motion on this one?
Sure, well, any
Audience,
public?
would you like to speak to the audience?
All right,
None?
well, then I'd
Okay.
like to make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second.
I'm not difficult on all of them, Ed.
Second. I second this one.
Any discussion? Seeing none?
Eric Gaspar in favor.
San Germain in favor?
Carsten Stuber in favor.
Ed Goodwin in favor.
With regards to SEC file number 25-50, the project at 37 Finley Road, I'd like to make a motion to approve the project under the Sturbridge Wetland Bylaw with the conditions laid out in the agent's detailed agenda, and no,
I combined Wetland Protection Act and Sturbridge Wetland in the same motion for this.
okay, what is the
Negative
wetland?
determination.
Oh, okay. Trip me up. All right. And approve the project under the Wetland Protection Act with a negative determination. And no bond required for
No,
this?
it's an RDA.
Okay, because it's an RDA. All right. So, yeah, that's my motion. Put
Second.
that one together.
I have it in.
I don't, I don't read.
All right,
Second that.
second? Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor.
San Germain in favor?
Carsten Stuber in favor.
Ed Goodwin in favor.
There it is right
Thank
there.
Thank you very much. Have a good evening.
Yeah, me too. We are now open a public hearing, notice of intent for 312 The Trail. Applicant is Jamie Scarra, represented by Mark Levine. Ground effects 300-1222, proposed project, Cantilever Dock.
The applicant is requesting a continuation April 3rd to allow some time to make a minor change to the plan.
All right. With regards to DEP file number 300-1222, I'd like to make a motion to continue the public hearing until April 3rd.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor.
San Germain in favor?
Carsten Stuber in favor.
Ed Goodwin in favor. We now to 6:30. Public hearing, notice of intent for 55 Beach Avenue. The applicant is Vernon Jackson, who's been waiting patiently in the audience, represented by Joe Levesque, Rebecca Geomatics, I'm sorry, can't even read. DEP file number 300-1223, proposed raise and rebuild of the family house that his father so diligently put up.
Not really. We bought it from somebody.
Oh, did you? He could have been it.
Could have pulled out everybody's heartstrings, just that much.
I know, and I probably should, yeah.
Honesty will win you favors, too.
Only thing to really note from the last hearing, you know, we did the site visit, and I think the only change is the maple that was proposed to be removed, is they're hoping to relocate it to this area on the site, so that way it doesn't have to be removed, it can just be replaced, because it was planted in memory of a.
How big is the maple that can be removed? How big is the maple?
It's probably about 8 inches, maybe.
Oh,
It wasn't too big.
Red maple?
I think so, yeah.
Yeah. For your sister?
My mother's parents,
Mother's parents?
Yep.
Oh, great.
and my sister.
Yeah.
And at the last hearing, Eric, you had talked about trying to get the portion of the deck
Yep.
out of here and adjusting that. And I'll let Joe or Butch answer that response, but that was something that we did look at while on the site, but.
We could, I mean, there is some room, obviously, to shift it a little bit to the east to try to lessen the impact and the 25-foot buffer, you know, but then we're talking about expanding parking area and doing more grading and paving, because obviously we would have to absorb that part of the driveway to make that happen. And, you know, from my perspective, even though it's still inside that 25-foot buffer, that little piece or kind of corner of the deck is going to be where the existing house is, so it's already disturbed land. We're just going to kind of probably put some sonotubes in and put the deck over and then restore, so it's already sort of disturbed.
Well, I appreciate you looking at it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I agree. I mean, the house is already there, it's disturbed. It's not like but I appreciate you looking at it for me.
I think one other thing to point out from the site visit too is there's this area that kind of has a sand-ish type beach, which is protected. There's a raised area right here, but while on site, we did talk if there's a possibility to kind of grade this out a little bit more so it's not as steep going down, just to slow any possible erosion and disturbance. And I don't know if we had, obviously we didn't make a decision on that, but that's something that I'd like to bring towards at the meeting that I think was a reasonable request since you're digging up in that area
No,
anyway.
that's fine.
Just
Yeah, I
kind of
think it's
to
reasonable.
That's fine.
bring down the slope.
With the house moved back, we'll have room to do that. Right now, you can't
Yeah,
see
the
it, but
corner
the
of the
porch
house is right
it's right
there.
there outside the picture.
Yeah.
But I think at this point, all other, ideally, I would like to see some downspouts on here, just because we do, it's come to our attention of so many issues on the lake, and that's just one extra thing that can go to kind of reduce anything, but it's a flat site, so I don't see any more impact than what's already there. So I don't have any other concerns on this project.
You're gonna put strips along the house, or what's the plan now as far as the?
As far as downspouts?
You want to put some gravel strips underneath the gutters, and then put splash blocks.
Yeah.
Splash blocks underneath
I can do that.
the downspout. Yeah, we could definitely add something on the plan for that, for sure.
Put a sign out to have the speedboats go by at 6 miles an hour.
Good luck with that one.
All right, any questions?
Nope, I'm good. They answered mine.
No?
Carson?
From the crowd?
Anybody in the audience like to speak to this? All right,
I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing with regards to DEP file number 300-1223.
Second?
any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor.
Saint Germain in favor?
Carsten Stuber in favor?
Ed Goodwin in favor.
With regards to the project at 55 Beach Avenue, I'd like to make a motion to provide a waiver for disturbance within the 25-foot and structures within the 50-foot buffer zones.
Second.
Discussion? Anyone? All in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
San Germain in favor?
Carsten Stüber in favor.
Ed Goodwin in favor.
With regards to the project at 55 Beach Avenue, DEP file number 300-1223, I'd like you to make a motion to approve the project with the conditions laid out in the agent's detailed agenda.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
San Germain in favor?
Carsten Stüber in favor.
Ed Goodwin in favor.
With regards to the project at 55 Beach Avenue or Road? Avenue, I'd like to make a motion to approve the project under the Sturbridge Wetland Bylaw with all of the conditions already discussed and an additional surety in the form of bond or deposit to the town of Sturbridge in the amount of $5,000.
Second.
Discussion? All in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
San Germain in favor?
Carsten Stüber in favor.
Ed Goodwin in favor.
Thanks, Butch.
Very good, thank you.
Joe, thanks for the tip.
No. I'll let Jean know, well, she's not here tomorrow, but, if you guys wanna get going on that process, I think they only have one meeting next month. So you might wanna get on that soon, so you can get going. Yeah.
I get nervous up there.
You're welcome.
See ya.
Joe, I'll call you in the morning when I'm heading down that
Yeah.
way. Okay.
You stay too long in Florida, now you have to wear a thick sweater.
Yeah, right. About that delay. Notice of intent for Podunk Road, application is Ryan Coakley, Sturbridge Road Solar Farm LLC. Next Era Energy Resources. Owner is the town of Sturbridge. Representative Chris Nolan. Sarah.
Good evening.
300-1228, proposed project. Removal of hazardous waste. Okay.
I'm your hero tonight. I'm going to get rid of an environmental problem for the town.
Good.
We filed this NOI to perform the removal of asbestos-contaminated material and miscellaneous debris from the town-owned ROW for the portion of Podunk Road that is east of Route 49 and still within the town of Sturbridge. I refer to it in my narrative and elsewhere as an abandoned road. It is in fact not legally abandoned. Disused would have been a better term. After it was made into a dead end there, for several years there was illegal dumping going on down there. I know some of the members have gone down and seen the piles of roofing debris. And as a result of that, the neighbors put an earthen berm across the road, and that's how it became disused and sort of fell into being reclaimed by nature. We included a copy of an agreement that we've made, my client has made with the town of Sturbridge to perform the work that we've proposed, removing the asbestos and the other debris within the right-of-way along this section of Podunk Road. We see it as both a benefit to the town and to the environment, and not to be secret about it, it's also our transmission route for our solar project, which is up on North Sturbridge Road. We submitted an existing condition plan showing the locations of the significant larger piles of debris. There's some inconsistency between that and the Smith and Wessel report, because I think the survey refers to one large pile when I think that the designer referred to two smaller piles that are right next to each other. So we plan on removing all the piles of debris that are within the town-owned right-of-way. We had Smith and Wessel, licensed asbestos designer from Spencer, go out, test 5 or 6 of the piles. 2 of them came back with positive results for asbestos roofing material, non-friable asbestos. We're treating all the roofing material because we don't know what's underneath. We didn't dig through them. We're treating it all as asbestos-contaminated material and handling it accordingly. Due to the nature of where these materials are, ordinary asbestos abatement programs require segregation of the area and negative air pressure. You can't do that when you have a ground, something like this on the ground, because you can't create an airtight environment. So the DEP anticipates this, and they have a whole procedure that you go through to get permission to perform an asbestos abatement in an area like this. That's called a non-traditional work plan. So a licensed asbestos designer, who Smith & Wessel is, has prepared a draft non-traditional work plan, which we've included with the submission. That non-traditional work plan details the manner of the work, the testing that has to occur, air testing that has to occur during the work, and how the area is cleared after the work. I know there's been some discussion about maybe doing some soil testing, and I just want to point out to the commission that this is right next to a road. It's right adjacent to a road. It's owned by the town, and we are only responsible for removing the asbestos-contaminated material. I'm not sure that the town would like us to be in there testing to see if there are any other materials in there that the town would then be duty-bound to remove. We're suggesting that we remove the asbestos, and we replant seed. And again, the reason for just replanting with seed is it's a very small area in the resource area, and we understand that others will be planting trees down here, and there's another procedure that's going on with that in that regard. Our project is solely to remove the asbestos-contaminated material, the other debris, and then to put down seed to restore the area. We anticipate, as I said, putting down, erosion control, down gradient and cross gradient of all areas where we're doing the work. I did speak. Let me just go to the timing of this. It's a draft non-traditional work plan because I need to identify the contractor in the final application. I can't identify a contractor until I have an order of conditions, because I don't know what the scope of the parameters of the contract are. So when this commission issues, assuming that you will issue an order of conditions, We will then, within 30 days, we will be out to bid and have a contractor. We'll probably file the non-traditional work plan promptly after that. I don't know how long it will take the DEP. It's anybody's guess how long it will take the DEP. I asked the representative when I spoke to her, and she could not give me an answer. We anticipate that the work will be done within 30 days of the non-traditional work plan being approved. Under the non-traditional work plan, they have to be, the work that the DEP approves has to be completed within 90 days, or else we have to go back to the DEP and renew the non-traditional work plan. I spoke to the DEP, who went over the project with me, and just requested that I inform the commission of the timeline that the work would be done under. I also note in the extended agenda, the extended agenda, that your DPW director has opined that the methods seem reasonable and that it's a good project and it's a benefit to the town. If you want me to go through the scope of work briefly, I will. Other than that, I think it's fairly straightforward what we're doing. We're going in,
NOI. What have we said is required to this point?
What's in our NOI?
Yeah, haven't we issued an NOI? Isn't this?
No, so we have an order of conditions for a related project, for the separate project that required the removal of the debris and soil testing. With review with this application, which actually went way more into depth into the debris piles than the other project that is occurring in this area, there would not be a need for soil testing at this point. Asbestos doesn't leach down into the ground. So for the recommended conditions that I had prepared for this specific project, removal of the debris, that when a final non-traditional work plan is approved, that it's provided to our office and approved internally before any pre-construction site visits. I had originally put on there quarterly monitoring reports. Since it's such a short-term project, a monthly monitoring report might be more appropriate, since this is supposed to be such a quick overturn. A monthly report that would show what's been done, what's accomplished. And then I had a surety bond. Chris, did you get the copy of the email that I'd sent you with the?
I didn't see the surety bond itself, but we were okay with the number. I saw the number on the other agenda, and I spoke to my client about it.
$1,000 surety bond.
We're okay with that.
And this is under the notice of intent that was provided to us is specific to this project. So the information that was provided on the debris piles is far more in depth than the information that we had received for the utility project, since that was not intended to be for the debris. And then also we do have the agreement with the town that says that the debris piles need to be removed too. So that is part of that legally binding agreement between the select board and the property owner. At the end of the day, we think we just really want to see this done, and we want to see this cleaned up, especially if there's going to be some more disturbance and any possibility of things getting turned over too.
How does Smith and Wessel know when they've got it all?
It depends on what the non-traditional work plan requires. Generally, asbestos, I believe, is optically. They look and they make sure don't forget, this isn't friable asbestos. This is non-friable asbestos. It's roofing materials. Yeah. So it's not the pipe mag that powders. It's not, that's friable asbestos. We don't have that in these piles. We have roofing material. So it's easy to see that you've gotten it all. And traditionally, that's the way the non-traditional work plans have worked, is even with some friable asbestos, they'll clear it that way. There's no standard for asbestos in soil. So you can test the asbestos in soil, but there's no standard. Nobody's ever established a standard.
My question around this was, one, I don't want to relieve the other project from any of their obligations.
That project's still under litigation, so there's no action being taken on that, and we are not making any decisions or action on that at this time.
All right, so that's fine. That's number one. And number two, 2 inches below seemed awfully shallow, and I realize that there's no leaching that we're concerned about, but when you see something on top, a lot of times it's also buried further down. So and trying to balance between, like, we don't want to do any additional disturbances that could affect the wetland in any type of negative way, and making sure we get all of it. is 2 inches deep enough to see if there's anything that's been further buried underneath? Is there any way to identify if anything's been buried further underneath? And I get that, that's a big property, so I'm not saying go search the entire thing,
It
but
actually is mentioned in the notice of intent. You might be more familiar with the actual page numbers in there too, but in the non-traditional work plan, there is mention in there of the vertical work and what's to occur if debris keeps going down.
Yeah, they'll just keep going down if,
so they keep going down, and then it's 2 inches under that.
correct, that is the
That
anticipation.
was the connection I didn't make. Okay. So it's not
say
just,
say
it's,
that pile's been there for 30 years and now there's there's 6 inches of natural sediment that has occurred. They will dig till they no longer see material or signs of decomposed material, whatever's there, and then go an additional 2 inches below that.
okay.
The other thing that we had requested in the NOI was that we permitted to use a small excavator to the extent that that excavator can stay on the paved portion of the old Podunk Road. And then anything that we can't reach with that excavator, we would do remove by hand.
And there is in the recommended conditions that hand removal done to the furthest extent possible.
Yeah. No, I agree. We want to get that stuff out of there. We want to get it out. It's been sitting there long enough. We want to get it out sooner.
60 years at least.
But as long as we're not giving up any of our protections under that other, by acting on this, I'm comfortable. Okay.
Laura?
No, it's good.
Carson? We're all in agreement.
I don't know if there's anyone. I don't know if there's anyone from the.
Anybody in the
that's
audience
on,
want
but-
to speak to this?
All right, hearing none. With regards to DEP file number 300-1228, the project at Podunk Road, I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second?
All right, any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor.
Sandra Mann in favor?
Carsten Stuber in favor.
Ed Goodwin in favor.
With regards to the project at Podunk Road, I would like to make a motion to provide a waiver for alteration of land within the 25-foot no disturb.
Second?
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor.
Sandra Mann in favor?
Carsten Stuber in favor.
And Ed Goodwin in favor.
With regards to the project on Podunk Road, DEP file number 300-1228, I'd like to make a motion to approve the project under the Wetland Protection Act with the conditions laid out by the agent in the detailed agenda.
Second?
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor.
Sandra Mann in favor?
Carsten Stuber in favor.
Ed Goodwin in favor. Thank you very much.
With regards to the project at Podunk Road, I'd like to make a motion to approve the project under the Sturbridge Wetlands bylaw with all the conditions already discussed, with the additional condition of the applicant posting a surety in the amount of $20,000, either in cash or bond.
Second?
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor.
Sandra Mann in favor?
Carsten Stuber in favor.
Ed Goodwin in favor. Thank you.
Thank you.
How do I manage that bond? Do I deal with Lauren? Okay, thank
I'll get
you.
all the information.
Thank you.
When that's ready, do you want to pick it up or do you want me to mail it to you?
I'll pick it up. I'm up here weekly.
I'll give you a call. It'll be some point mid next week.
Okay, great, thank you. I'll actually mail it. I'm on vacation the end of next week.
Okay.
And the week
It has the
following.
information on the surety on there too, but you can just call me if you have any questions on it.
Thank you.
We're now at 6:50, or sort of. Notice of intent for 110 Paradise Lane. The applicant is Tracy Murphy, represented by McClure Engineering, DEP file number 300-1225, proposed raise and rebuild of a single-family home.
Good evening. Chris McClure, McClure Engineering, and here on behalf of the Murphys for a raising and reconstruction of their existing lakeside home. Just a continuance for some additional information relative to, it was the information on the retaining wall. This is the existing footprint of the house. We're moving the house outside of the 50 50-foot, a deck and some staircase going down through here. Pavers to be constructed from there's existing walkway here, but they want to replace that with some pavers along the side of this side of the house, and then identification of the trees to be removed as part of the project. And there's two on the Lemansky's property, which I was told Lemansky had filed an NOI to remove some trees. These trees are like hemlocks and they're in bad shape, so they don't want to go through the Murphys have agreed to take them out as part of their project, so they don't get done constructing this house and have a tree fall on it.
Are we sure whether they're the same trees? I mean, you're doing the sleight of hand for me here,
No, I mean, this was actually part of my recommendation. Joe Kowalski had called me about trees on this neighboring lot too, because there's a lot of hazardous trees on this site and on the coming down
yeah.
here. And a lot of these ones that are on here lean over. My suggestion was to tack it onto this notice of intent. There's going to be a separate tree removal process that's going to be this homeowner, because he has some other things on there as well.
Okay. All right. Good answer.
And obviously this, with the conditions, the site conditions, the commission hadn't been able to take a walk to see the site. They would have ended up down.
glad we
anyway,
didn't.
so, yeah.
We would have slid. You could have sat at the top and just slid down.
Yeah,
Which could be fun.
could be.
I think having the tree removal was something they needed on this site. Having been out there, it is much more narrow in this area than it looks on paper. I still would like to see some type of replanting other than just seed and loam down here. I think that there's still some opportunity to do some type of vegetation down here. I think that we could add a condition to have a landscaping plan implemented, and that landscaping plan would need to be approved and executed prior to a certificate of compliance. But I think that's something that we could do once the canopy is more visible here, and seeing what the new ground is like. My only concern on this site too is, just like all of Paradise Lane, it's at the bottom of the hill. There's a lot of ledge and a lot of runoff issues. And I initially was thinking that if it would be appropriate to have something like a French drain behind the retaining wall, but I think I'd like to just kind of see something to slow down any runoff that's coming from the road.
Sure.
They're spending a lot of money to reconstruct this home.
Right.
And the existing house is not in great shape, and we want to make sure that this one's going to stand for a long time.
Right.
So if there's anything that we can do to protect the lake and protect the house from any of the runoff that's coming off the hill. It is heavily vegetated with vines coming all the way down, but of course you're removing some trees, so some of that might die. So I'm not sure what you could recommend or propose kind of coming in on this area too.
Sure, I mean, we will have some, as part of this retaining wall, the construction of this wall, there is going to be a rain collection system is built in part of it, so we could try to beef that up a little bit more. We don't want to, have too much water build up against it, but we could,
And I think in that area, a lot of that's going to be the surface water too, not the groundwater.
Right, exactly.
So.
Potentially something we could do, and it is really thick in here, so we really can't see. Potentially something we can do, along the top of this slope. And once they get in there and start opening things up, we can we could try to mitigate some of that water that's coming down.
Overall, I think it's an improvement to the site. The house is coming out of the 50, and I know timeline-wise, they're really aiming to kind of work this the same time as the double raise and rebuild at 110 and 108 while that site is still open. Those two houses haven't come, actually one of the houses might have come down this week, but I know that the Gagnon's house that they're currently living in is coming down next Monday.
Is there any way we could get a commitment to what could possibly be there? I understand what you're saying about, but on the other hand, if the owner has something in his mind of what's going to be there,
Sure.
like parking or, I don't know.
There's nowhere to park
An
down
amusement
there.
park or whatever.
Yeah.
Yeah, there's no
Could
parking
you
down
put something
here.
together that would generalize what we're going to get?
Well, Well, currently, his parking, yeah, this is only walking access that he has down
Right
here,
here, yeah.
right? So,
It's narrow.
and we had to push this wall a little bit back at their request, because they do transport anything that they bring to the house with a, yeah, golf cart. So, originally, our wall was a little bit closer to this door, and they're like, we can't pull a golf cart in there, so, so this will be, gravel, stone
Yeah.
material, so that's going to,
And where's the golf cart go from here?
it just goes from
It
here up
drives
to
up.
his, yeah, up to the,
This is all just a narrow walkway at a steep slope, so,
So there's no steps?
no,
no,
no.
no steps.
That's what I'm saying, if we had gone that other week, you could have sat at the top and smooth sailing down. It is a smooth walkway down.
So is it arched so that it's gonna take water and take it right to the lake?
No, it's not arched, currently, there is a stone walkway there, and as part of this, we were only calling for the pavers into this area, and I really had to tell them, like, we don't want to stop here, because, we want to improve that accessibility, all the way up with pavers right to the parking area here. So,
So the pavers will be an improvement from what's
pavers
there
will-
now.
Yeah, right now, it's like a pavement with,
So where's the parking area now? Go around the parking area. Right here?
Yeah, that's flat.
yeah, that, yes, this
Where along
area,
there?
yeah.
Yep. And then
How
this is
much
the
Parking is
asphalt
that?
easement.
Well, this is actually, the well's there, so they kind of park, this is the driveway access, so there's like a couple of spots right in through here, and that's pretty much it.
That's just 2 spots?
1.5
Well,
maybe.
You have to, well, you figure you have to turn around to drive back up, so it's really, it,
It's restricted.
yes, yeah.
Anything else?
Just like for like me, that is very steep. Like I don't have any concerns about the plan.
Sure.
But like if if they will be thinking in getting steps,
Right.
like maybe this is the time, like so that they don't have like draft for another one. But yeah, it's
Yeah, I explained that to them as well. I think
winter will be tough.
right, yeah, definitely. And currently, they don't spend any time here in the winter. They're in Florida right now, so I don't know if that's their intent all along. But if there were, this paver would, the width isn't going to increase, but we could, add a couple of steps here, for accessibility, safety. They wouldn't be able to get there.
But then they can't use the golf cart.
Yeah, that's the thing.
Exactly.
I think they want to
Either
use
use the golf cart or have stairs.
I think they want to use the golf cart, that's easy.
Carrying groceries, and
Yeah.
they're a little older too, so
Sure.
I'm thinking that's.
Yeah.
I'm surprised the golf cart actually makes it. But
Yes, it's very steep.
Lauren, I like the idea of the planting plan, but do you have a suggestion on how to condition that as part of?
Add a condition that a landscaping plan be provided prior to the commencement of work, to be approved by the agent, to be executed with a 2-year or 2 growing season survival prior to issuance of certificates of compliance.
Okay, that
I'd
sounds
like to see
good.
it come before the commission. Exactly what you said, but bring it to us so we can take a look at it.
Okay. As a minor change.
Yeah.
Okay,
If you
so
get us a
we're
planting plan.
okay with moving forward with the project and having it come in front of us? Is that what you're saying, or are you, okay, yeah,
So
yeah.
if the commission votes in favor, approving the order of conditions today, and then having a landscaping plan presented at one of our next meetings prior to any work being done for your approval as a minor change, and then being able to move forward from there.
Does that work? for
Yeah,
You and your
sure, yeah.
client? Okay.
So I guess this is probably a silly question. Can can the landscape plan be proposed in the 25-foot no-touch?
I would say so.
It can be, but it would
We
be
are-
very, very, we'd be very, very interested in
What's
real
being-
wetlands
Yes.
plants,
Sure.
you know?
I would say that considering the amount of vegetation that has been removed from that buffer around the lake in recent years, if done appropriately, it would be a benefit to the project, to the lake.
Yeah, there's no apprehension on doing it. The only apprehension is making sure that you get guidance from Lauren as to making sure that the appropriate
Yeah, I'd be happy
species
to
are
work
being
with you
put in
unless you have
there.
someone
We would encourage that.
Okay,
Yeah.
I just didn't want to come with something within that 25-foot and then say,
No,
can't
no,
touch
no.
that.
Does the word no lawn come up? No lawn.
No lawn.
Also got a great resource sitting behind you too. Yeah, you.
All right, seeing that we don't need a waiver, all right, hey, you wanna go to the public edge?
Yep. Anybody in the public like to speak to this? Seeing no?
All right, I'd like to make a motion with regards to DEP file number 300-1225 to close the public hearing.
Second?
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
And German in favor?
Carsten Stüber in favor.
Ed Goodwin in favor.
With regards to the project at 110 Paradise Lane, DEP file number 300-1225, I'd like to make a motion to approve the project under the Wetland Protection Act. I would like to note the conditions already discussed with the agent and put in the detailed agenda and the additional condition of bringing a completed landscaping plan back to the commission for approval under a minor change before the commencement of work.
Seconded? Discussion? All in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor.
And German in favor?
Carsten Stüber in favor.
Ed Goodwin in favor.
With regards to the project at 110 Paradise Lane, I'd like to make a motion to approve the project under the Sturbridge Wetland bylaw with all the conditions already discussed and an additional condition of posting a surety bond or cash deposit to the town of Sturbridge in the amount of $5,000.
Second.
Yeah. All in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor.
And German in favor?
Carsten Stüber in favor.
Ed Goodwin in favor. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Eric, you start, reach it, I'll be right back, okay?
All right. 7:30.
Oh, wait, Carson's gone too, so.
We probably shouldn't open it without quorum. When he gets back, I'll open.
I don't want to jinx us, but it's 7:30. We're doing pretty good.
Famous last words.
No, I'm confident.
Oh, you're confident?
I'm confident.
You're exuding
I'm
confidence.
hanging my hat on that comment.
All right, I like it, I like it.
Oh, yeah.
So, I just had a April 3rd meeting hung on me, so I will probably be remote
Okay.
from Dallas.
Got it.
So, I know that we sometimes have challenges with technology, so I'm hopeful that we will be fine.
I think someone else has gone that meeting. Or did you already tell me that you were gone that meeting?
No, I'm
This
gone.
is new.
This is new. This just got scheduled
Okay.
literally yesterday. No, it's the 24th. The 24th, I'm traveling back to Florida, and I don't land until 4:38.
Okay, that's what I'm
I
thinking
don't
of
think I'll
then.
be here in time. Though if there is something that is in question, I can give you my flight number, and you can schedule it to the back of the agenda, and I might be able to either Zoom in or
Good deal.
get here. But I don't land in Logan until
Okay.
4:38 that afternoon,
You know,
so.
perfect.
I know that sometimes we're juggling, so if I can,
Yeah.
if I need to accommodate, we'll see if we can figure out something.
Kirsten, you didn't have any conflicts for the next meeting, did you? For 4/3?
No, actually, I should be. I actually postponed my flight to Chicago to Friday morning.
Okay.
All right, 7:30. I'd like to open the public hearing for the request to amend the order conditions for 4 Reject Lane. Applicant, Armagon Caesar, Representative McClure Engineering, DEP file number 300-1036, proposed project, adding a deck, porch, additional paving, and retaining wall to the approved project, which called for the construction of a single-family home.
Great, good evening, Chris McClure, McClure Engineering on behalf of Amon Caesar. The applicant currently lives in the home. The house is constructed, this is an amendment to an NOI. And at last meeting, we had shown a RV port here, a covered port that required a retaining wall, small retaining wall in the back. We since scrapped that, based upon the discussions here, we since scrapped that structure. And he is able to pull, we're just looking to put gravel in this area where he could pull the RV and park it without, disturbing any of his lawn area. So based upon the topography in this area, it's not going to require a retaining wall. It just needs to be, this is all flat grass area right now, so we're not really going to be disturbing much. There was a question relative to this back deck as to where they were going to put the support posts. We did submit contractor's deck design. Although that deck is 12 feet wide, the posts are only going to be set 10 feet off the house, so they'll be set at the top of that slope and not into the riprap. And then there'll be a overhang of the deck off of where the support posts go.
That'll be a considerable overhang.
Cantilevered deck too.
Yes.
It's a cantilevered deck too.
Yeah, no, I understand that.
I had the building inspector look at it thoroughly too, to kind of see if it would comply.
Good.
And for safety regulation, or safety concerns as well.
And then this will, obviously the gravel drive is going to be paved. This is already paved up here, and then there's a little area here on the side of this driveway that he's looking to pave, and the water will be picked up in this trench drain and then directed to where the current water is, French drain that collects the water and sends it down to the outfall.
So the current driveway will be dug up?
The current driveway is gravel. They're just going to need to, and it's a good gravel base. They're just going to have to, remove it to put asphalt in it.
That was part of the original plan. It hadn't gotten paved because the drain here hadn't been completed.
So other than that, I think those are the only questions from that.
Change here is there's not going to be anything over here?
No, just going to be gravel. Where it's currently grass, he's going to just put gravel in there so he can park his RV.
They scrapped the retaining wall, I did.
Yeah, yeah.
A cantilever deck off the back of that, and it's going to be structurally sound. I mean, I'm not engineering it, and I'm not living it, but wow. Okay.
In my opinion, it's a complicated site, it's a complicated project. In my opinion, I would like to see either a this or that as far as the additional driveway over here or the gravel parking, which is for the RV. I think it's just a lot of change from the limited amount of grass. It's all riprap coming down here. So I do think that is kind of a disadvantage to the site. So in my opinion, I'd like to see either one or the other. If grading is required to be able to appropriately park the RV here, I think that grading could be done and it stays grass, or you put gravel here and leave grass here, but that's, up to the commission and, of course, in agreement with the applicant as well, who I did see is on the call.
Lauren, on this side here, how far are we to the wetland?
The wetland is all down here.
Down there,
It's
yeah.
100 feet, right?
Yeah.
Is that
Yeah.
top dash?
Yeah, so really, I don't feel that's
I'll see
really
if we have the 200.
jurisdictional.
No, I think it's still in the it may still be in the 200. I don't know if we have the
Oh,
other plan
it's
on
definitely
here.
in the 200.
Yeah.
Oh, in it, yeah.
Yeah. It's all outside the 100.
I think the other plan showed the 200 buffer,
Yeah.
maybe. Maybe not.
Or this all
No, not
in
this
the
one.
two-
We do have a plan
Yeah.
that shows
Yeah, it's pretty much all encapsulated in the
in the 200.
200.
This was what was before us at
Yeah,
the last
that's-
meeting
yeah.
with the wall and
Right.
paving, but
And you can see it's pretty flat, where that gravel is going from those other slopes. So it's just really, just so the tires don't get it's to basically keep the tires and the axles out of the mud and
Yeah, no, I'm not.
So I wasn't able to go to the site visit for these ones. What is the vegetation behind the new gravel?
Grass.
It's
It's
grass.
just grass and kind of just overgrown.
overgrown, yeah, definitely overgrown. yeah.
Okay.
Couple of invasives, but not, it's not crazy. It's fairly new
Mostly
construction.
stone.
It's a lot of stone over here. It's kind of like having your own private mountain over here
Yeah.
with the view of the pond.
Beautiful habitat for birds of prey. Yeah, I'm okay with the changes.
Yeah.
I would like to see that grass get in and start to vegetate and armor that place, because it's never been armored over there.
Yeah, I'd like to see it get done, too.
Yeah.
The applicant's on the line, but yeah, he's very anxious to get it done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I would also just like to note too that this did get extended with the additional COVID tolling act.
Yep.
The current expiration on this is September 10th, 2025, so if this work is not going to be completed by then, I would recommend an extension, they request a one-year extension to be filed by August 11th, so we can get that on the right agenda. Hopefully you can accomplish it by then, but if not, let's just make sure that this doesn't expire either.
Great. Eric, I don't want to overwork you, but do you want to?
You wanna see if we can close this public hearing? Is anybody in the public want to talk about this? All right. Well, with regards to the project at 4 Reject Lane, DP file number 300-1036, I'd like to make a motion to close the public hearing.
Second?
All in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor.
And Sherman in favor?
Carsten Stüber in favor.
Ed Goodwin in favor.
With regards to the project at 4 Reject Lane, I'd like to make a motion to amend the order of conditions for DEP file number 300-1036 and approve the additional work that was not previously permitted.
Second.
Having a second, any discussion? All in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor.
And Sherman in favor?
Carsten Stüber in favor.
Ed Goodwin in favor.
Great.
Thank you.
Thank
Thank you
you.
very much. Have a good night.
Now we are at notice of intent for Cedar Lake.
Thank you.
Lake Association represented by TRC, DP file number 300-XXXXX.
The applicant has requested a continuance pending a DEP number, which I did see came in late this afternoon. I have not gotten a chance to review it, but obviously we would have had a chance to review it, so that'll be back on track for April 3rd, but request to continue.
With regards to the project at Cedar Lake, I'd like to make a motion to, continue the public hearing until April 3rd.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor.
And Sherman in favor?
Carsten Stüber in favor.
Ed Goodwin in favor. We are now on to
546, 548 Hayes.
request for determination for 546 and 548 Haynes Street. The applicant, Silver Tree Realty, represented by Glenn Kowalski, VP Environmental Consultant. File number 21-92, proposed project construction of a single-family home restoration. Glenn, welcome.
Thank you, sir. Glenn Kowalski from EBT Environment Consultants. I believe, thank you, if I could say that Lauren did look at the site with the owner,
And
the
Carson
lady,
Floroway.
and Carlson, and we had proposed that amendment. There was, the applicant, the builder had thought, well, this is the problem with builders thinking sometime, and he said, well, if I stay outside the 100-foot buffer zone, then I'm gonna be good. But that wasn't what the plan showed. There was 2,800 plus or minus square foot of clearing, we might say that when I originally flagged this wetland, this is extensive exotic invasive plants that had grown up with oriental bittersweet, multiflora rose, Japanese barberry, autumn olive, and glossy buckthorn. It is complete, also, don't forget Monroe honeysuckle. It's just exotic invasive that he cleared. So I made a case, I believe I attempted to make a case to the commission that with this narrow strip, Lauren, you could probably show it on a plan.
I'm going.
Well, that's autumn olive, those are the exotics. There's the overcut right there. The blue line is what was proposed, the well in the back, the scalloped red line is what's out there now. It's approximately, if I wrote it here, 2,800 on the nose is what we catted at. And we propose that if we let it just grow back to the original blue line, which is in towards the house, it'll become the same exotic invasive that we have out there now. We're still going to stay outside the 100-foot buffer zone, the DEP 100-foot buffer. We're still in your buffer. We asked for an amendment, and potentially, if you agree, we plan on planting northern red oak and red maple, black gum tupelo, and what else did I have in here? Red maple, red oak, and white oak. I called out 5 plants, five that we would plant. They would be saplings. We listed 4 species. We could double up on one of those species if the commission would allow us, and then we would, so this would be planted with, again, saplings. You can specify 2-inch caliper if you chose to. That's what a sapling generally would be here, and that was our program. Again, staying out of the 100-foot buffer altogether, and not allowing, again, that material to come back in that narrow strip that we showed, which is what that number 1 that represents in that area, that whole arc.
How do you prevent that from growing?
Well,
That's
if you,
aggressive.
these saplings would be in there, but I said if we just let it grow back, it would be these same exotics. So we do plan on mowing underneath these species, and that would keep them at bay. Otherwise, their seed, their mast crop, they call them, which have a lot of seeds, and that's why they're exotic. They seed out very well. This was an old field, and it was just taken over by these plants. There's no real trees out in this area. It's just these bush species, successional exotic invasive is what we might call it, that the field turned into these bush and then vine. So we did plan on keeping it mowed, but keeping those 5 saplings in there. That would keep some shade. The shade eventually also helps to keep out the exotics, but it's more going to still be the mowing. No additional clearing either.
So what diameter plants are you going to use to give shade?
2-inch caliper is what we call for. That would be a street, 2 to 2.5 is street tree planting board size saplings. Again, that's just, that's autumn olive, that bush, you
Yeah.
can see.
From our
Same
side,
thing
so
here. There's the well.
This is-
The well shows up on the plan, so you can see how they went, in fact, the well, that number 1 is right on the plan, is right behind. So there's that additional clearing back from the well location that you had on the plan, that the developer had on the plan. This would be, Hoper Land Surveying did it out of Oxford, the plan originally. And I suppose in the future cases of something like this, of course, we're not there in the future, but that erosion control barrier, if there was one on this, I did not do the notice of intent. Toper did the plan. I only got called in because of the exotics. But if there was a barrier originally shown, maybe sometimes we have those barriers you guys use, or even if it was an erosion control barrier, to say this is it. I think the owner, even when I got there, was still chopping up some of that autumn olive. We just want to make sure that we don't go any further than what the plan shows, and then sapling it and keep it mowed, but stay out of the 100-foot buffer.
I mean, as you can see from the as-built, even the driveway location, the house location, it was kind of one of those situations that they got the order of conditions and just said, we're just gonna build this instead.
Yeah. I don't, you don't give me an alternative. Give me an open lawn or invasives.
No, there's plantings that were proposed.
It's the
Yeah, I
plantings.
know, but I didn't see any impressive numbers. What are we talking about?
I called it out on the, it's called out on that. There it is.
So what are we talking?
5 saplings, northern red oak, red maple,
It's
black gum, tupelo, and white oak, within the
5
2,800 square feet area.
2 to 2.5 inch caliper
Yeah.
along that zone.
It will look nicer.
What?
It will look nicer.
And it's the 2,800, yeah, it's not as big as you think it is. It looks bigger on paper than in the site from like the maximum area, so 5 is also going to be a healthy distance for those trees and easier to maintain. You don't want to overcrowd it. And then also, if for whatever reason they're unable to contain the invasives and the invasives suffocate what it gets replaced with, it's just going to kind of backfire.
Yeah, well, the species you're talking about are serious invasives.
Oh, the site is serious. This is one of the most dense. I had to walk through it originally a couple years ago. And it is seriously invaded. And one of the most, I've walked through it in a while. You know, sometimes you get a few natives in there. This is, that's just what I just explained. It's that, period.
Yeah.
So the farmer, you know, these old farms, sometimes they'll grow up, sometimes just with the autumn olive and then a little bit oriental, but this is dense with everything. So, yeah, they cleared it back, and it is a problem when the contractor, some of these towns, I'm not sure if yours does, that they have to, I know we just did one, I'm running 70 projects, who cares? That we have to sign off and say, we understand the order of conditions and then they're even more liable. So sometimes we have those conditions, or those barriers, or those monuments. We just went by one today with the monuments, and anything to tell the client, don't go any further than what's out there.
Yeah, I don't
So
know.
that's the only thing I suggest. I know it's a future thing, but again, we didn't get into the 100-foot buffer zone of the wetland at all. We're in we're in the bylaw, we're in bylaw, and we're asking for an amendment.
And this is a SCC filing, so under the local bylaw, I would just recommend, if the commission agrees with the replanting, that we just add a condition to the existing, that there is a 2 growing season monitor period for the plantings to make sure that they stay. And that would also kind of keep it within that same expiration for the order of conditions as well.
Is there anything other than these trees that can be done to, I mean, well, I suppose, is there any environmental or wetland concerns over these invasives other than the fact that they're just unsightly?
I mean, it was just at no fault of the homeowner or, in the Glen that's representing, it was just a, abuse of the approval and within this jurisdictional area. And I think that having the native plantings will be a protection from that invasives, but we're not gonna go and execute an enforcement action requiring for this massive
Right. No, that's not.
project.
But if they don't properly maintain those trees, is there a chance that that invasive is gonna come in and take over and kill those trees, and then we're stuck back at square
Going to
one?
require routine maintenance.
So should we condition as part of this amendment that they a perpetual condition of routine maintenance of that, so it doesn't encroach and put the health of those new trees at risk? Because I mean, the whole point to do it is to protect the wetland, right?
3 years is not enough.
Well, that's why I'm thinking a perpetual condition for the maintenance of that, and a 2-year growing season for just the normal viable health.
Yes.
Is that agreeable, Glenn?
Through the chairman, all these invasives are kept at bay if they're mowed if the area is mowed like a lawn. Even Japanese bamboo can be killed. And we have Japanese bamboo here, and then it's mowed. As long as you mow these areas like a lawn, like a normal lawn, once a week or whatever you do, they cannot come in. Because the grasses have a meristematic growing tip, just if I could say, please, at the land surface, and that's why they can be mowed off, because your growing tip is there. These plants, the growing tip is at the top of the plant, and when you keep the top of that plant mowed off, they cannot grow. That's why you can even kill Japanese bamboo by mowing it to death, I call it. But Oriental bittersweet, I had it in my yard when I first started. Any of these are woody plants, and they cannot take mowing. So this would be just part of the lawn. The trees would be in there. Yes, we give tree species back that are native. I might say about exotic invasives, you're wondering if there's any detriment to them. Whether it's DOT, DEP, U.S. Army Corps, all those entities now work on removal or restoration into native, because many of them don't have the same value, these exotic invasives, that your native species do. So there's programs, there's actually a boilerplate in DOT that spreading of them on even a Route 20 in Oxford, they just got in trouble on that redevelopment, because they had a booklet this thick to maintain, and then they put them in piles, and Glennie made a phone call, because there they go spreading, and then everybody came out of DEP and they're environmental, and it became a big baloney, because they're not supposed to spread. So the point is they are looked at the state and federal level as a problem, because you asked if there are any, I think, is there any detriment to those exotics? At the environmental side of the deal, the people and entities do believe they are, but again, they can be kept at bay if you mow it, if you keep it mowed.
So my primary concern is, I don't want to amend this, have them put in 5 trees, them not maintain through mowing, which it sounds like they're doing it already, so it's not a problem.
So I would say we put on the condition that the plantings survive the 2 growing season with a perpetual condition that the area be maintained. And then in efforts to help the homeowner, we could come up with some type of boundary, not necessarily the wetland boundary mark, because that wouldn't really be appropriate for the site, but some type of marker permanent marker that they could put in their property, even if it's just a post, so that they know how to where that maintenance line is. That, okay, it's coming too far this way, I really need to get back onto cutting. And then say we go to this property 5 years down the road, whether it's the same owner or the next, that area is clear for us, and that we can kind of say, hey, by the way, this is where it's supposed to be. That might help too. So adding some type of permanent marker showing that where that overgrowth could be, so it's evident and helpful to the homeowner.
Yeah, I mean, yeah.
Carol, yeah, she got the actual homeowner.
Oh, okay.
I bought the property.
You know what? Take a seat.
I didn't know. I never.
Bushes and
Push,
stuff.
talk into this, talk into this.
These
please.
bushes that are there, or whatever they call it, invasives, these are a bad thing? I can remove them? I'm willing to get
You
rid
can,
of them.
they're
to which-
saying mow what's mowed.
Okay.
Don't go back further.
I thought they were saying that it's bad because it's spread, that I should.
I'm glad, we should have talked. You can, where the limit of this, if I could, through the chairman, where the limit of the clearing is, that's it. And in this area, they're gonna require you to put, if they vote for it, 5 saplings. And what I propose, I would hope that you have seen this thing, you can have it, and that we keep it mowed. So just like your rest of your lawn, we're gonna keep it mowed to that limit, and we're not gonna go any further into the exotics. And we're gonna have 5 saplings that won't be overtaken by exotics, because it's gonna be mowed as your lawn. It's just an extension of the lawn, but not into the 100-foot buffer zone.
Where would these be planted on the
Yeah, there would be.
Because the properties,
but
the
you have-
backyard's weird.
You have to go through the chairman to talk.
Sorry.
It's Robert's Rules of Order.
You
So I'm
never do, Glenn. Why can't he talk?
Well, because I asked to talk. I asked for you if I could talk.
just kidding.
They would just be spaced out along this zone. Okay, that's all.
Any other, do you guys?
I have a question, because we're talking about the plantings. I'm reading here that there were also other modifications to the size and the location of the house and those things. Are those?
This is where the back of the house was supposed to be. This is where it is now. The driveway was actually coming back further, it looks like, and it's up to here. So that was kind of how all this came out in the first place, is that they were, I think it was actually McClure that had initially submitted the request for a certificate of compliance. I think that's who had submitted it initially. And I looked at it and said, there's a lot of red on this, and this is really different, and you cleared back a lot more. There needs to be some type of corrective action. As far as the Can't take down the house, but we can do, this is something that we can do. Maintain the invasive, add some more vegetation.
All right?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be happy with it. I just don't want to, force them to put up trees, and then in 5 years it gets overgrown and they're killed, and
Yep.
nobody gets what they want out of that. So I think that that's a perfectly reasonable approach to take, to put a perpetual condition and maintain the lawn. Don't go any further back, right? And plant the 5 trees kind of along that horseshoe, right?
Yes.
So like for the owner, even though they are species, they are still habitat. So even though they are invasive, they are still habitat. So for us, this is what is approved, so you cannot go beyond what it has been approved. Like you were like asking.
Like
if
for
you could,
this?
yeah, so like, just don't clear more.
So like if I wanted to clear more, I have to
You have to ask for permission.
file a thing,
Yeah,
like one of these or?
A plan.
Yeah.
So obviously I want this to get closed out because I don't really know what the
If you wanna,
specifications of
yeah,
that.
if you wanna talk next steps, I can work that out with you and
Yeah.
just, let you know what steps you would have to take and work with you to kind of plan something appropriate. But.
Right. So, because, I've sat through the whole second meeting of mine here and I see the plans that a lot of properties are cleared up to like the 50 mark that we even looked up today and it
It's
didn't
just
seem
that
to
was
be an
what-
issue.
yeah,
It
it's
seems
based
like
on
just the
what it's
builder or somebody screwed up and I don't want to pay for it, you know what I mean?
It is an issue, and there are a lot of variables in each decision.
Yeah.
50 feet may or may not be a situation where we're allowing them to actually build on the lot versus they've got 10 acres with the 50 feet and they can, that they could be building on.
Yeah.
Or they could be away from the wetland. It gets detailed.
Right.
The builder didn't ask for any more, that was the problem. So
Right, I'm just trying to comprehend all of this, because
Yeah.
I ended up in with no issue, and I understand if I want to do something, I have to go through you.
The
and
key is
this
if you
and
want
that.
to do something, get
Call and
information
ask.
first.
Right,
Yeah. I gave your wife my card.
and you gave it to me last meeting, so I have it, but I just wanted to see what happens with.
When in doubt,
this
call and
whole thing
ask. You can never
first.
do wrong if you call and ask first.
this is just to get you through this.
Right.
Yeah,
Let's close this out before we move on to next
Yeah,
projects, I
okay.
think.
All right.
exactly.
Anybody from the public need to?
You want to say anything about your father? Come on.
An opportunity. All right,
But
well,
for school, you
So
can.
you want to play soccer?
with regards to,
Oh, boy.
You need more room to throw your fastball?
with regards to SEC file 21-92, 546 and 548 Hain Street, I'd like to make a motion to close the public
I
hearing.
think you sent this.
Oh, can I vote on this one? This was all, I think.
This is an amendment.
Amendment.
Yes, you're good.
I don't, I.
Here for those.
So I can
Your
make any-
discussion,
This is me.
seeing
This
none,
is me.
all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor.
German in favor?
Carsten Stuber in favor.
Ed Goodwin in favor.
With regards to the project at 546 and 548 Hain Street, SEC file number 21-92, I'd like to make a motion to approve the project with the conditions discussed in today's discussion, inclusive of 5 native plantings, 2 to 2.5 inch caliper in diameter, no further clearing, and with 2 growing seasons and a perpetual condition of maintaining the space.
Thank you, sir.
Yep. All in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor.
And German in favor?
Carsten Stuber in favor.
Ed Goodwin in favor.
All right.
That's it.
Thank you very much.
So if
This is
your
a bylaw.
father tells you to mow a section and you don't feel like it, it's a hot day, tell him the Conservation Commission said you can't mow that section.
Don't go any further.
Thank you.
Thank you. Yeah, take the whole thing.
All right, we are now at 89 Lead Mine Lane. Request for a certificate of compliance. 300-1073. Agent?
Some of you may be familiar with this project. There was some restoration that was needed for some disturbance that was done I met, Glenn on site, as well as the property owner, to, come on, go back, to look at the restored area. A part of this order of conditions has already been issued out, so that's why this is a parcel. Silt fence is still installed, but, I mean, you can see the replacement plantings all down in this area. In the area where the garage was, there is nothing proposed. That's just gonna remain as is, but all the plantings are in there. The area of the wetland that was filled has been restored. And there's boulders preventing immediate access for down here. I have no concerns, and it's a great picture.
I was gonna say, hey, I know that guy.
And my recommendation is to issue a partial certificate of compliance for this project.
All right. With regards to DEP file number 300-1073, I'd like to make a motion to issue a certificate of compliance, no perpetual conditions.
No perpetual conditions 53, 54, 55, 56.
Okay. Good.
Discussion. Seeing none? All in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor.
And Sherman in favor.
Carsten Stuber in favor.
Ed Goodwin in favor. Thank you.
Thank you again. Good evening.
Appreciate your
participation. Thank you.
We're now at
I'll get that to you sometime next week.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
6 Picker Road.
What did you say when I was over there and I missed?
Request for
Oh, they were
certificate
talking
of
about
compliance, DEP file number 300-1062,
There it is. Thank you very much.
wetland crossing to access cold storage.
I'll let you know when it's ready. Request to table this, Glenn and I have scheduled a site visit for next week for both 6 and 8 Picker Road. So we can do that.
Both of them?
For both 6 and 8, yes.
6 and 8.
So tabling both of those.
Table?
I'd like to make a motion to table DEP file number 300-1062 until April 3rd.
Second.
And DEP file number?
And
300.
DEP file number 300-1066 until April 3rd. Yeah.
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor.
And Sherman in favor.
Carsten Stuber in favor.
Ed Goodwin in favor. So now 12, 10 Tasper Shore Drive.
Yep,
Two separate issues.
2 separate projects. The first one's the septic replacement, the second's the shoreline wall. The site photos are just combined, so, but retaining wall is in good standing. There was some replacement plantings that were done. No signs of erosion coming through the cracks, site's stable. That was just tracked, but plantings that were all required, I counted them and make sure that those matched. That was just a really pretty view of the pond, because it had a nice, it was really pretty that day. We had like the fog going on too. I kind of just was taking it in with the songbirds. Stone patio.
And I see ourselves out on the patio there.
Oh, it's so great. Yeah, so I had no concerns, so for both items 14 and 15, I would recommend certificate of compliance. There's perpetual conditions for the second one, for the 300-1076.
All right.
All right. With regards to DEP file number 300-1002, I'd like to make a motion to issue a certificate of compliance.
Second.
Discussions? Seeing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor.
And Sherman in favor.
Carsten Stuber in favor.
Ed Goodwin in favor.
With regards to DEP file number 300-1076, I'd like to make a motion to issue a certificate of compliance.
66, right?
76, I think.
Is it?
1076.
1076?
Oh, okay, all right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With the perpetual conditions of 15, 16, 17, and 18.
Second.
Yeah. Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor.
And Sherman in favor.
Carsten Stuber in favor.
Ed Goodwin in favor. 11 Cary Road, SEC file number 23-33.
So I've spent a lot of time on Cary Road because we have a lot of issues with the road itself. I did not realize that this was an ADU until I got this request for certificate of compliance. I thought this was an actual single-family house, but no, it's an ADU. Did the inspection. No signs of erosion, it's just the road's in rough shape. Fish and Wildlife is gonna be fixing that hopefully soon. The drainage looks good, everything looks clean coming out. Like I said, it's just the road kind of in bad shape, but I had no concerns with the dwelling unit. There's a pipe that starts up at the top collecting from the primary house that runs under to the ADU, comes out in the bottom. It was in good shape, it was clean, nothing contaminated or debris coming out. I have no concerns. Recommendation for a motion for a certificate of compliance with the perpetual conditions as noted.
All right.
With regards to SEC file number 23-33, I'd like to make a motion to issue a certificate of compliance with the perpetual conditions of 47, 48, and 49.
Second.
Any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor.
Germany in favor.
Carsten Stuber in favor.
All right. Opako Land Trust, request for Heinz Farm, Plimpton Community Forest, and Long Pond, April 19th through April 27th. Proposed activity have no impact on the resource area. It is recommended the commission approve the project with the following conditions.
So Opakam is proposing to do a spring break activity for kids, that it's going to be kind of like geocaching. They're doing letterboxing. So there's going to be a couple different like smaller Tupperware type bins. And they're doing this not just in Sturbridge, they're doing this in some of their other properties as well, from that time period where kids will go out, they'll have a little like passport that they can find. They go out, find the letterbox, stamp their passport, submit a picture. There's going to be prizes. It'll be a great community event. It'll be a great way to kind of get trails involved. I originally thought they had Riverlands on here, but I don't know if they do. But if it's Riverlands on here, it needs to go to select board as well. But if not, it's just for us. But I had no concerns. It's their property. They're the CR holders on these properties, so obviously they're caring about the best interests of this. So I put as a condition that they inspect the trails and making sure there's no damage and make sure that all the material's picked up. That's probably going to be assumed.
Right, yeah.
Anyway, no concerns.
Yeah, didn't I see something with Riverlands on too?
Yeah, I think it might have been.
Doesn't matter.
We had one on Riverlands last meeting.
What?
We had one for Riverlands last meeting, the NEMBA event.
Okay. Hamilton Rod and Gun.
Do you want to make a motion on the other
Make a
one?
motion on that.
So, with regards to the Opakam Land Trust request of land use for Heinz Farm, Plimpton Community Forest, and Long Pond, I'd like to make a motion to approve the request with the conditions already discussed.
Second.
Discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor.
Germany in favor.
Carsten Stuber in favor.
Ed Gooden in favor. Now, Hamilton Rod and Gun. Request for, to use the Plimpton property, June 27th through 29th.
This is for Hamilton Rod and Glens Club annual archery event that they do. They've had no issues in the past. There was no concerns from Opakam, so just kind of going forward with standard conditions of, checking the trails, making sure that there's no issues and concerns. There's a typo because I put the event host NEMBA, but the event host being Hamilton Rod and Gun Club. And Hamilton Rod and Gun Club will be adding the town of Sturbridge temporarily to their insurance as well for this project, or this event.
Who
did you spend time with on this?
From Hamilton?
Yeah.
I forget the name, I have the card.
I'm just concerned that we're making it more distant. They do a lot in there. They do, they.
Yeah, so we're
clear the shop
actually,
for the bow and-
we're gonna be doing a site walk with them and with, Laney and I had like we did half of Plimpton earlier this year. We didn't get to that side of it. We're gonna be doing a site walk, we're trying to pick a day to do a site walk of the other side of Plimpton with both Hamilton Rod and Gun Club. There was a butter that had some concerns, so we're gonna invite them on that. Glenn Colburn was going to join us on that too because he's really familiar with the site and the property bounds. So it's kind of just going to be whoever wants to join when we pick the day to kind of go out here. But I have been kind of spending some more time working with Hamilton Rod and Gun Club with some of their other potential projects too.
The guy that headed up and come before us the last couple of years is really good.
Yeah.
I
did talk to them, when he dropped off the application. I was talking to him more about, what he's experiencing for wildlife back there and how that's been impacted with the increase of trails use, because that is hunting property back there too. And they said that last year there was no deer pulled out of there, but there's still a lot of wildlife activity.
None of them got a deer out of there?
Not last year.
Oh.
Maybe this year. When Lady and I did our walk, there's evidence of a lot of deer out there,
Yeah.
so
Well, the thing
they're
is,
just
that
not going at the right times.
they've gone in and where you go from event to event, you go there and you shoot your bow.
Yep.
And they have a cleared target area
Yep.
as you go, so that's,
Yeah. So we'll be looking into that with them too, and marking property bounds and all that again.
With regards to the permit for Hamilton Rod and Gun Club for the use of the Plimpton Community Forest from June 27th, 2025 through June 29th, 2025, I'd like to make a motion to approve the permit with the conditions already discussed as part of the detailed agenda.
any discussion? Seeing none, all in favor?
Eric Gaspar in favor?
John Sherman in favor?
Carsten Stuber in favor.
Ed Goodwin in favor. All right. Old business?
I don't have any replacements.
Okay. Agent update?
Trying to catch up. We've been interviewing for the assistant position, and we've kind of narrowed down some options. I would like to introduce Bridget to everyone as well. Bridget's considering joining the commission as an alternate member. As some of you may remember from the last meeting, Roy has decided that when his term is up this year, that he's going to be resigning. So at that point, we'll have one regular member's position open, but right now we have two alternates. Nate Lane, who was at our last meeting representing NEMBA, is also going to be appointed as an alternate too. So we're gonna have a great full board for the next few months. But I don't know if Bridget, if you want to, don't feel pressure, but if you want to come up and maybe introduce yourself, or if anyone has any questions for her. If not, you can stay back.
The camera's off.
Great, we'll wait then. Other than that, we had our conservation and coffee meeting today. Some great things came from that we'll be looking to kind of do some more public engagement and event. Potential dates for a joint trails and conservation meeting. After I talked to Brandon about it, we had kind of said that maybe it'd be more appropriate to do this in May, one, because everything's kind of busy and I'm short-staffed on this end, but that way we can actually do a site walk of Lead Mine and the brook and everything too. Liz came to our conservation and coffee meeting today, so we were looking at some possible dates, and what we're proposing for a joint trails conservation meeting with Liz from Fish and Wildlife, either May 12th or May 13th. As of right now, does anyone have any conflicts? Because we kind of like to lock in a date and commit to it.
May?
May 12th or 13th. I think we had a meeting that Thursday,
May 12th.
and I don't want to add it on to a meeting because that would be long.
No, we don't do that.
I don't think, no.
Is there a preference? I sent an email
Both
to.
good for me.
Okay, I sent Brandon an email and told him to talk to his committee to see if they have a preference.
What is the 12th? What day?
Monday.
Monday or Tuesday.
Monday or Tuesday?
Yeah, Liz can't do Wednesdays and we have a meeting on Thursday. So
Brandon's gonna say Monday.
unless anyone has any conflicts,
What time of day? What do we think?
afternoon.
It should be okay.
Okay,
As of right now, I don't have anything.
okay,
Well, I mean, Monday would be easier for me if it's in the afternoon.
okay.
If it's in the early evening, I could do either day. So
Okay.
anything after like 4:30, I could do either day.
Okay, I'll send an email before we actually officially pick everything, just to double check to make sure it's good. Eric, for the next meeting, you told me that you're going to be remote. Anyone else planning on being absent for the next meeting?
What's the date?
The 3rd of April. Okay. And then just as a heads up, as far as my scheduling from the 24th of this month and for the first 2 weeks into the first 2 weeks of April. It won't affect anyone, but my schedule is slightly shifting, that I'll be coming in an hour later and staying an hour later. My husband's gonna be away for training for a couple of weeks, and I have to do drop off and pick up by myself all those days, so just slightly adjusting, and Robin was great to work with me. Yes, especially with the days we've been having lately with the time change. Other than that, I have nothing,
Wow.
just minutes to review.
Do I have a motion?
Actually, yeah, we should approve the minutes for February 20th.
Yes,
With
so
the
it's on
one
there.
change of just updating Barnacle's last name,
Got
the
it.
spelling correctly, but other than that, it looked fine.
Great.
Any, anything that has to be also voted on at the special meeting from last week?
No, I think we did that. I just didn't update it. Full disclosure, I rushed through the detailed this week because
Yeah.
it's been, weather's getting nice, so we've been slammed this last month. But so, there's a motion to approve the February 20th meeting minutes with the comment, if anyone wants to make that.
So moved.
I'll second it.
Eric Gaspar in favor?
Gentlemen in favor?
Carsten Stüber in favor.
Ed Goodwin in favor.
Karsten, take us out of here, buddy.
Move to adjourn the meeting.
All right, Carl.
In favor.
Second.
Saint Germain in favor.
Yep. All in favor?
All in favor?
Nice job. I mean, when you called at 7:30, we were on schedule, Lauren, I got a little concerned, but 8